Hello, Commanders. Automatic Gamer here, and today I'm going to be asking the simple question. Well, it's a it's a question for a more civilized age, I should say, because today I'm going to be ranking all 11 of the Star Wars movies that have been released from 1999 to 2019 that we have. So, also before I start, this list may be controversial for my rankings of all of the Star Wars movies. So yeah, with all that said, let's just get into it with the worst Star Wars movie ever, in my opinion. Which I wouldn't really think I'd be surprised. It's Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Somehow Palpatine returned. Holy crap, this movie was so bad. Uh, yeah, so the reason that Rise of Skywalker is the worst in my opinion, because my main issue was the movie. It was just written extremely poorly. There was way more questions than answers, and in my opinion, when I watched the movie, I was like, why are they not giving us answers for all these questions that they're bringing up? Also, why did Palpatine return? Why is General Hux a spy? There was so much bad writing and LOL, laugh out loud, bad moments in that respect. So that's why I think Episode 9 is truly an awful movie, and not that you did your best for a trilogy, but it was you. I would say they made a lot of bad decisions for Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, to be awful. And of course, you're trying to wrap up a trilogy, and it doesn't really pan out the way you want. And I've only seen the film once or twice, and that's plenty of times. And I'm probably never gonna watch Rise of Skywalker again. And it's a really bad film. It's not my type of movie for being a Star Wars fan, or any type of Star Wars fan, their type of movie. So my next choice would have to be Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Holy crap, this movie is slightly better, but it's still a very, very extremely messy film in my opinion. And, well, the pacing of the sequels, all three of the movies, is weird in my opinion, but yeah, The Last Jedi is, I would say, has the weirdest pacing out of all three of the trilogy films. But I would say, yeah, maybe because they shelved pretty much the best character in that movie, which was Finn. They shelved him to the side, so he became essentially a background character, which pretty much ruins the whole feel about everything like that. And then they go ahead and ruin your favorite legacy childhood hero in Luke Skywalker. And Mark Hamill also expressed in a recent interview I heard on YouTube that he he respects Rian Johnson, because in his opinion he respects Rian Johnson, so that's why he went with it. But he did not like the changes that he made to Luke Skywalker's character, because he thinks, in Mark Hamill's opinion, his opinion, that he would be like Luke Skywalker would not act like this, being a Jedi Master, being a person who saved the galaxy from all this darkness throughout the years. And yeah, it was a very messy movie. And were they just making stuff up as they went along, or is that just one of my main issues with everything in that film? But also, one of my other criticisms about the movie, and everyone has this issue with the movie, whether if you love it or you don't like it, or if you're in the middle, is that Snoke in this movie is why did they build him up in The Force Awakens and part of the beginning of The Last Jedi, if you're just gonna kill him off in the middle of the second movie of the trilogy? So yeah, there's so many issues with the Last Jedi. It's a bad movie, and the pacing is so bad, and the middle section is probably maybe the worst part of the entire film. And yeah, if only they switched up a few things, and also just going back to the Rise, just going back to each of the movies, if only they took risks with the Rise of Skywalker and with maybe the Last Jedi, by taking some different turns here and there. For example, in the Rise of Skywalker, they were teasing you that like Chewbacca was gonna die, and like, oh no, that didn't happen. C-3PO's memory was gonna get wiped, and oh no, that didn't happen. Like, if only they took risks in episode 9 and episode 8, they maybe would have been better movies, but in my opinion, they're just awful. Now, on to my next one. I would have to say that would have to be The Force Awakens, in my opinion. Now, granted, this movie isn't terrible. It is a decent, like, it's an okay watch, in my opinion, for the second or third time I've seen it. I've only seen the movie maybe 2-3 times. Not that many, but it's a decent watch, I would say. Because some of the movie, like, if you're starting watching it, in my opinion, some of it can feel, like, interesting, and it can have, like, good and fun moments here and there. And, of course, you have the best character of the, movie, which is, of course, Finn, the stormtrooper who defected from the Empire or the First Order. Well, even though the First Order is pretty much the ashes of the Empire, or a newly formed Empire, because, well, the writers didn't really know what they were doing for the sequel trilogy anyway, and they didn't take any of George Lucas's opinions on the sequel trilogy in his mind on how he wanted it to go. So yeah, Finn's the best character of The Force Awakens in my opinion, and probably the best part of the entire movie. And then in episode 8 and 9, he becomes a background character, and he just fades into existence. So yeah, he's probably the best part of the movie. Starkiller Base in The Force Awakens is basically, to me, like, it's kind of a cool concept, but again, the more you think about it, it's kind of like the Death Star 3, so you're like, alright, another super weapon that you have to figure out how to destroy. I wonder how simple this is going to be. And it took elements from, I think, the original trilogy of the main 3 movies, 4, 5, and 6, and presented them in a modern setting that you perhaps would enjoy, but also wouldn't really enjoy. But maybe if you're one of those fans who's for the new generation, maybe you like the movie. And yeah, if you like the movie, yeah, that's you. I'm not going to judge. But yeah, I don't like this film, and it's not necessarily one for me, so that's just my take on it. Also, Bombastic, Andrew, if you're watching this, mate, yeah, I know this ranking is going to be super controversial. Andrew, Bombastic, if you're watching this, bro, but also, shout out to you for your ranking video, mate. And my next spot, I would have to put Solo, A Star Wars Story. And I watched this movie straight away in the theater when it came out, and to be honest, I did like the film, but yeah, I didn't know what to fully think of it as of then, but yeah, I rewatched it again recently, and then I was like, yeah, this is a good movie, this is a fun watch. I did like seeing how Han Solo started out, and well, with it not being Harrison Ford, I mean, there's still a lot to like about the film, even if it's not Harrison Ford, because I know he is Han Solo. I mean, I like seeing younger Han Solo, like how he met Chewbacca, how he got to know and meet Lando Calrissian, like how he knew him, how he got the Millennium Falcon, how he became the person that he was today. Another factor about the movie that I really liked was exploring all the crime syndicates in that movie, and the introduction with Darth Maul being like, hey, he's still alive. And also, like, if you didn't watch Clone Wars series, big spoiler ahead that yes, Darth Maul is still very much alive anyway. So I like the introduction for him to see what he was still up to during that time, and the introduction of Crimson Dawn and all the other crime syndicates. Like, I mean, they brought up, like, they mentioned a few other crime syndicates, like the Pikes and stuff, but they didn't, like, show them, but we knew they were around by that time still anyway. Doing, who knows, at that point in time, probably some smuggling. I have no idea what the crime syndicates would have been doing during that time. But also another factor about the movie that I really liked, I liked Woody Harrelson's character of Tobias Beckett. How he was basically kind of a mentor and showed young Han Solo this is how you should like pretty much grow into be what you are. Like, what is your path and what do you want to be? Like him showing him like he's going to be a smuggler when he's when he's older with Chewie and the Millennium Falcon, like, and how he shoots his mentor Tobias Beckett, Woody Harrelson's character at the end, involving into the scoundrel that he ended up being a smuggler, scoundrel, and the captain of the Millennium Falcon with Chewbacca. And well, this is not necessarily a diss on the movie, even though I did enjoy it. But I mean, during the beginning of the film, there's a lot of dark shots where you see Han Solo especially on the Corellian system. But I mean, those aren't like a huge takeaway from the film in my opinion. But also, it makes things a little bit hard to see in those shots. But also, they don't really go on for too long, which is good. Which is not necessarily a diss on the film in my opinion. So I think this is a pretty good spot to put Solo: A Star Wars Story. And for my next ranking, I would have to say, oh gosh, this is probably going to be controversial. I'm not certain, but I would have to put Attack of the Clones right here. Oh boy, that's going to be a weird spot for it. And yes, Attack of the Clones, the most meme-worthy Star Wars movie ever. Probably the most meme-worthy Star Wars movie. Because, yeah, when I first watched the movie, or when I recently watched it again, the prequels aren't a bad watch. I think the prequels sometimes, especially in modern settings today, I think they age very, very well. Not necessarily maybe the effects, maybe some of them look dated because that movie was released in 2002, and the CGI for 2002 like looked amazing. Like, used CGI, the special effects, the green and blue screen in the background, and how they were able to accomplish all that in 2002 in order to make that movie. And I did enjoy a lot of the film, like all the world building that it did with all the planets, like Camino, going back to Tatooine, Geonosis, the introduction of the Clone Army and Palpatine and Count Dooku, with their ultimate plan of having the Clone War happen. In the words of Master Yoda, begun, the Clone War has. And I would say, yeah, Count Dooku and Yoda, especially their lightsaber duel at the end, that's one of the best parts in the movie, in my opinion. Let me know your favorite. Let me know your favorite part of your favorite Star Wars movie in the comments below, and also for that film, the only major bad thing about the movie was, well, the romance between between Anakin and Padme, Natalie Portman and Hayden Christensen. I mean, well, still, it was a bad romance. I mean, George Lucas himself stated he was so unhappy with it, with his with that love story, that how he wrote it out. He told Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman to actually improvise most of your scenes together for their love story anyway. But that's my main complaint on Episode 2 Attack of the Clones. But yeah, that's where I would put it right now on my ranking list. Now the next film I would have to say, it would have to be Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Now, there are a lot of things that are good about this movie and a few things that are bad. I'll just get the bad out of the way first. I was going to say that the few things that are bad, like for this movie, I mean, the CGI for 1999, well, it looked good for 1999, but now, yeah, today, I mean, it's a really good film still, but one, not as good as the others, and two, some of the CGI, it can look, I mean, dated here and there, but that's not really a here or there, a big time complaint. And another one of the factors for the movie that I did not like, I did not enjoy the Gungans at all. I thought they were just super stupid and dumb. I did not like the Gungans at all, and Jar Jar Binks. I just thought they were stupid and were just extremely unnecessary in that movie. So we didn't need any of those characters and plot points in that movie, even though the Gungans and Jar Jar Binks were integral to the story anyway, moving forward. Not that he had a bigger role in the rest of the prequel trilogy, but yeah. Um, some of the factors I did like about this movie was Jake Lloyd, young Anakin Skywalker. I feel like it was a really good choice to give us like a kid Anakin to start out his introduction and his story into where he was as a child, into how he became Darth Vader. So I would say, yeah, it was a good choice to give us a kid Anakin, and him as an actor, 10 years old, he didn't deserve all that ridicule he got when he got much, much older. So yeah, he didn't deserve all the ridicule that he got, because I think he did pretty good in that movie. And probably one of the best parts of the movie, in my opinion, was also the music, Duel of Fates, especially one of the best lightsaber duels ever. Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Darth Maul, one of the best lightsaber fights ever. I'll watch that duel here and there. It's one of the best fights. And the music for it, the music for Star Wars in any film created by John Williams, just absolutely incredible. Masterpiece for a composer for 11 major Star Wars movies. And that is amazing. And so, especially when The Phantom Menace also came out in 1999, fans of the originals highly hated on the movie, and all the original fans pretty much hated the movie. And look at it now in modern standards, that The Phantom Menace is it's a way better movie than what it is from then. So the prequels have actually aged very, very well. And yeah, that would be my take on The Phantom Menace. And I know this next ranking, again, Bombastic, if you're watching this, Andrew, this is probably going to be a huge, very big, hot take in my opinion, but I would say Revenge of the Sith is my number 5 spot, would have to be Revenge of the Sith. And I know a lot of people are going to say in the comments, oh, put this higher, this is a great Star Wars movie. And yes, I agree, this is a great, great movie. But again, I left 4 movies still off the list, and a certain trilogy off the list for a reason. I'll get to those later. But first, I'm going to have to say Revenge of the Sith, oh my gosh. The movie's amazing, 2005, it came out when I was born. And yeah, it's just a overall great movie. The CGI does not look dated at all from 2005 when the movie came out. And I would say it is a great, great, it's another one of those Star Wars movies that's like meme worthy. It's a film like that. It's meme worthy. Like maybe every line, especially in the entire prequel trilogy, in my opinion, could be a meme. It could be a joke, because every line in the movie is something's either iconic or it's just funny and something like that. But yeah, it's a meme worthy film, regardless if it's like the beginning of the film or it's like Order 66. Which is one of the most tragic and also one of the most meme-worthy moments in Star Wars ever. Like, because we always get those moments, like, in the games or in, like, anything like that of Order 66 of trying to kill a Jedi, which is one of the most emotional and powerful moments in Star Wars ever, when you're seeing all the clone troopers that you all know and love shoot down their Jedi General, from Aayla Secura, Ki-Adi-Mundi, to, not Eddie Gallia, to pretty much any of the Jedi, to like Plo Koon and all them, and that's just a super sad scene. Always will be and always has been. Hayden Christensen in this movie, along with Ewan McGregor, are probably the standout to me in this movie, with them two as Anakin and Obi-Wan. But I would say Hayden Christensen, he did way better in Revenge of the Sith than he did in Attack of the Clones. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's what I'm going to say. It's my opinion, but yeah, sorry, guys. But yeah, he did way better in Revenge of the Sith, in my opinion, and especially his duel with Obi-Wan, one of the best Star Wars fights, lightsaber duels ever. And I think the duel is actually maybe the longest duel ever, and especially with some of the behind the scenes footage that I've watched and actually seen a ton of it from Nick Gillard, creator of the lightsaber choreography for Star Wars, especially in the prequel trilogy. I've seen a ton of the archive and deleted footage and concept art, and still, without all that stuff, it is one of the best lightsaber duels in Star Wars that I've ever seen. Even though it goes on for like maybe 10 minutes or over 10 minutes, it is one of the best duels ever. Yoda versus Sidious is great. It might be maybe my favorite lightsaber duel, but I'm not certain. It's still up in the air between that duel and Luke versus Vader, Episode 6. But I'll get to that shortly. Obi-Wan Kenobi versus General Grievous. Hello there. Just amazing and incredibly funny, like, straight away. And also seeing all of the Jedi and Palpatine's plan. Ian McDiarmid as Palpatine is just incredible. Like, great casting choice, in my opinion. And seeing his grand plan of the Sith victory from over 1,000 years over the Jedi when Darth Bane initially initiated the Rule of Two for the grand plan. And also Anakin Skywalker's turn to the dark side. A lot of people gave him flack because they just didn't think there was enough motive for Anakin to turn to the dark side. But if you watch the film, you can all see the hints of subtleties of Anakin pushing everyone that he knows and loves, especially Padme, pushing her advice away and only following the will of the Chancellor, aka Palpatine, aka Darth Sidious. So, yeah, Revenge of the Sith is one of the best and one of the darkest Star Wars movies ever. But it's at number 5 for a reason, but I would say a even better Star Wars movie, in my opinion, and I know this is going to be super controversial, is Rogue One, a Star Wars story. And oh my gosh, I just love Rogue One, a Star Wars story. It is a amazing film. It is, in my opinion, it's really funny. It's really dark. It could be darker than Revenge of the Sith, but who knows? Oh, also speaking of Revenge of the Sith, my only qualm with that movie is Padme's death in the movie makes no sense. Like, she has lost the will to live. Like, that makes no sense. That's my only qualm with Revenge of the Sith. So if she would have lived, or like gotten the Force from Luke and Leia, and been like trained by Ahsoka to just like use those abilities, like not to be a Jedi, but to like have Force powers, that would have been like a little bit more realistic in my opinion. But either way, that's just my qualm about that movie. But anyway, on to Rogue One, which I think is a little bit better of a movie. I would say Rogue One, it's way dark. It's really funny too, and it's super. It's really realistic of a film. It shows you the realities and brutality of a war and how far people are willing to go in order to sacrifice to win a war, to restore freedom to any place or any galaxy in that universe. So I just love Rogue One. Every single character in that movie, I think, was incredibly well written, and the introduction to all these characters were amazing. And it is the one film for Disney that they actually got right. I mean, I love that movie because I'll probably watch it like just I've seen it so many times. It is one of the best Star Wars movies ever. And I would say the introduction to probably the engineering to the Death Star project was also very interesting with Galen Erso, Janet Erso's father, being the engineer behind the Death Star project. Stardust was its code name, if you didn't know that. Little fun fact. And in my opinion, it is one of the best movies ever, especially seeing Grand Moff Tarkin back, and also seeing Director Krennic, and also Darth Vader being like trying to be who gets credit for taking control of the battle station when you're testing your ultimate weapon on the galaxy with Project Stardust. So that's one of the best parts of the movie, in my opinion. And I just love one of the best parts of the movie, in my opinion, was like seeing the Rebel fleet and like the ground and space battle above Scarif. Like, that's like, it mirrors like the original trilogy battles, especially with like some of the archive footage that they did use from in a Rogue One, a Star Wars story, which makes it even better, in my opinion. And also, one of the biggest standouts of the movie is everyone that's a major character in that movie. Everyone that's got newly introduced just dies at the end of the film, which I'm like, every time I watch it, I'm always just so shocked about it. And even when I saw it in theater, I was like, everyone that just got introduced in this movie is killed, and it's like so shocking. And you're like, wow, but that is like super realistic, and you can like also see the sacrifice and the impact that they needed to transmit the Death Star plans in order to get that one step closer in order to defeat the Empire. And then of course you get the infamous Vader hallway scene of him mowing down those rebel soldiers, trying to get the plans away from him. And that is like one of the times you see Vader at his like full potential, at his raw power, with him just full of rage, just mowing down all those rebel soldiers in his suit and in the dark side. So that is one of the best parts of the movie in my opinion, and that's why I think Rogue One is in a good spot at number 4. Now, these next 3, you probably noticed a trilogy and 3 movies that I haven't mentioned yet, so let's get started with those. I would say number 3, I would have to put Episode 4, A New Hope, for the original trilogy, or the original Star Wars as it was made at the time, because they didn't know at that point was there going to be a sequel when it released in 1977. So I love the original trilogy. I love A New Hope. I'm just super nostalgic about all 3 of the movies. They're just my childhood, ever since my parents and my uncle introduced me to them when I was a young kid back in the day. And I just love the film. Like, the opening sequence and some of the opening segments are what laid the foundation for Star Wars and what it should be today. And also, the movie has this sort of like a call to adventure feeling, in my opinion. And the pacing of the film is really good. The characters are really good. I love all the characters, because everyone you are introduced to, everyone is like so memorable and likable. And even how like some of the characters are all so mysterious, like the introduction to Darth Vader, like how he's so mysterious, like seeing him on the big screen for the first time. It's so imitating and like so cool at the same time. Like, who is this person, and who is this like dark figure with this mask on? You don't know who he is, and like you see all these characters, like the introduction to the lightsabers, the introduction to the Force, the introduction to the Death Star, and how that like blows up Alderaan, blows up a planet. Like, everything in this movie is mind-blowing, and it came out in 1977, but I'm going to say this, that it has incredibly good special effects, and I don't think they look dated at any time. Anytime I watch that movie, the effects from that film releasing in all that time ago, they don't look dated at all, no matter how many times you will watch it. I don't think it'll ever look dated from then to now, from how long you watch that movie. So I just love A New Hope. It is a classic movie. And my next spot, this is going to be super controversial for my last 2, but Empire Strikes Back is my number 2, and the reason why is every film still got better and better, even though that one, still released in 1980, but I just love the film. The opening sequence, when you see that Star Destroyer and you see the Rebel base hiding on this ice world of Hoth, and see that they're still fighting the Empire, and the Battle of Hoth being a just incredible, amazing scene when the Empire finds them. It's just amazing. Also seeing the introduction to Master Yoda, and the introduction to Force Ghost with Obi-Wan Kenobi still being dead, but also still being alive after his duel with Darth Vader in Episode 4, being one of the best lightsaber fights ever. And I would say Empire Strikes Back is one of the best movies I've ever seen, and one of the best Star Wars movies. My dad would always be like and say it's his favorite Star Wars movie, and I don't blame him. Empire Strikes Back is a great movie. Everyone I've talked to says like, this is the best Star Wars movie, and yeah, I agree with all you guys. I think it's amazing. Again, with that movie, everything was great. I would say the effects in every single one of the original trilogy does not look dated from when they were released to now, today. They do not look dated at all, especially for something like that mind blowing, seeing in the cinemas all the way back in 1980. So yeah, the effects in that movie are really good, and also some of the visuals in the film look great, especially seeing the Millennium Falcon in that movie, especially with the Millennium Falcon pretty much being the fastest hunk of junk in the galaxy, and being its pretty much own iconic character, because that's what pretty much happened in that movie with everything that happened with Han, Leia, Chewie, and C-3PO all in the Millennium Falcon for together in the majority of that movie, and the growing romance and character arc from Han and Leia in that movie, the time they're spending on the ship with the Millennium Falcon being broken and damaged from the battle from the last couple years in the battle with the Empire. So I love seeing that. The introduction of Lando Calrissian being a one of the best Star Wars characters ever. I think it's one of my favorite characters, and also the introduction of Boba Fett only having 4 lines of dialogue, but being a huge fan favorite, and so mysterious and so intimidating. Does what he wanted. He was feared, and everyone knew it about that bounty hunter because everyone loved that character. And I just love Empire Strikes Back, and it's one of the best movies ever. And one of the best moments is, of course, the reveal that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father. That is one of the best reveals ever, and one of the best cliffhangers, if not the best cliffhanger and reveal in movie history, that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father. Probably one of the best moments in movie history, and also Luke vs. Vader, Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back, one of the best lightsaber duels ever in that movie. So that's where I would rank Empire Strikes Back. And for my number 1 spot, this is going to be super controversial, but I don't care. I would have to say Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, is my personal favorite Star Wars movie. I love the film. So yeah, Episode 6. Oh my gosh, how am I gonna explain it? It's my favorite Star Wars movie. It's the film that I would say connects with me the most, and I would say I would watch the most because it's such a good film. Like, from the opening to the ending of the movie, you know that this is a great movie. And in my opinion, from the original trilogy, from 4, 5, and 6, I think everything just got like better and better and better from, even though they released so many years ago, many moons ago, that these films are dated and are going to be bad now, but they are not. They are not dated and bad at all. So in my opinion, it's Return of the Jedi will and always be my favorite Star Wars movie of all time. And a big part of that is Luke and Darth Vader's dynamic on the Death Star, especially with the Emperor. Ian McDermott is being amazing in that movie. Ian McDermott, Mark Hamill, and you got James Earl Jones, and also David Prowse, who did play Darth Vader in the suit. James Earl Jones did the voice of Darth Vader. And their dynamic with the 3 of them in the Death Star in the throne room, just it's incredible. It's probably one of the best moments in the movie, and maybe one of the best lightsaber duels ever. I'm not certain, but it's so emotional. It's so good, and I'm just a huge fan of that film, Return of the Jedi. I love it. Like, it's so emotional. It's so good. It's a very good wrap up to how this trilogy was, and from Episode 4 to Episode 6, it's just an amazing film. Seeing the lightsaber duels, seeing the Rebel fleet attack the Death Star, Battle of Endor, Admiral Dakbar, It's a Trap. Oh, that's so iconic, and I love it every time. And the Ewoks being so cool and iconic, and to being the one of the best parts of the movie, and them thinking C-3PO is a god, that is just amazing, and them helping the rebels to fend off the Empire, and Return of the Jedi is probably that is the reason why Return of the Jedi is one of the best, and also my favorite Star Wars movie ever. Like, It's so good. It's like probably one of the best movies I've ever seen, and also one of the best parts of Return of the Jedi, in my opinion, is the funeral for that Luke Skywalker gives to Anakin Skywalker slash Darth Vader when he burns his armor over that fire, and you got John Williams' score just blaring in the background, and you got no dialogue at all. That might be one of the best moments in the film, in my opinion, and one of the best scenes in Star Wars ever. And that is the reason why Return of the Jedi is my favorite Star Wars movie. So, guys, that is my ranking for all the Star Wars movies, all 11 films. So let me guys know let me know that if you guys have a different ranking for any all of the Star Wars movies, and may the Force be with you, and see you on the battlefield, Commanders.